Tonight, on Only If You Can Keep Up, there are a lot of unexplained, mysterious situations in this world, and we're going to dive into just a few of them.
Aren't those called Unsolved Mysteries?
Yeah. Yep.
Same thing.
Unsolved Mysteries. Yeah.
Unsolved Mysteries.
You're right. Tonight.
Cue the theme song right here. Jello, I'm Ash.
And I'm Lynn.
And this is Only If You Can Keep Up. So, what kind of unsolved mysteries do you find most fascinating?
Oh, I really like the stories about, like, things that just disappear. Not necessarily people, but things that disappear or things that just appear out of nowhere. You know?
So
Things
like
that
disappearing and reappearing is your thing?
Well...
Or I guess not reappearing, just appearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Things that come out of nowhere. And, like, they just can't figure out why or how. I guess more paranormal, possibly.
Paranormal unsolved mysteries.
I like paranormal stuff for sure.
See, I like the weird, different. One of mine is actually people disappearing, but the other one is just different, weird. Like, nobody can explain it at all.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah. Okay, so my first one is going to be on the Silent Twins.
I've not heard of them.
Ever.
The Silent Twins. Never. No.
It's pretty freaking interesting.
Okay.
Like it's, I don't know. I'll let you decide what it is. Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
In April of 1963, 2 twin girls were born in a hospital in Aden, Yemen.
And is that like in the Middle East?
Where's Yemen? I don't know.
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
It really doesn't. June and Jennifer Gibbons were their names. Okay?
Okay.
After the girls hit speaking age, their parents realized they were not keeping up with children their age. They had socializing problems. They couldn't really talk when they were, supposed to be talking and saying words and everything.
Just
they
didn't in all different ways.
Exactly. They did it. And then the parents noticed that they would start speaking to each other, but not in a language they recognized. Mm-hmm. Like they would watch them and they would talk together and then just them two together, and they weren't speaking their language. They weren't speaking anything other than, it was kind of like sped up versions of English. Like very, 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 very fast, but they could understand each other. They were literally inseparable. They did not talk. They didn't talk to anybody. Like as they were growing up in school, they didn't talk to their schoolmates. They didn't talk to their teachers. The only person they would talk to was their younger sister. And whenever the twins became 11, they stopped talking to her. And the only reason they spoke to her is because they shared a room together.
Okay.
So they had to talk to her, they felt. But at 11, I don't know if maybe they got a different room or something. They stopped speaking to her altogether.
Weird.
Okay. And I mean, we don't talk to anybody except each other. And when we do talk to each other, it's our own language.
No one else can understand it, right?
Literally.
Like they're in a world of their own.
Literally. By the time they were teenagers, they had completely perfected their own language and absolutely nobody could understand them.
Wow.
Like at first the parents could kind of catch words and kind of get a generalized idea as to what they were saying, but then they just transformed it into literally their own language.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's not like how kids go through phases and talk weird or do silly things, but it's like
it was from like
ongoing.
birth, and right now they're at 11.
Right.
So we're
their
still
entire
doing it.
lives.
Or no, we're teenagers now. Yeah. They also developed other odd things, like they, like I said before, would not talk to anyone. It didn't matter if it was a teacher, nobody. They would not talk to their parents.
Pretty much mute other than with each other.
Literally, yes. They refused to read and write in school, but they would do it at home. And they mirrored each other's actions completely.
Oh, wow.
Like one would go up to
That's
brush their hair, and
creepy.
the other one would do it at the exact same time. Like not even looking at each other. Yeah. Here is something that June wrote in her diary. One day she'd wake up and be me. And one day I would wake up and be her. And we used to say to each other, "Give me back myself. If you give me back myself, I'll give you back yourself."
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
In 1974, a medic named John Ress, I'm going to say Ress, noticed the girls' strange behavior while doing like a school check. Like they would go through and check all the kids every year, make sure they were healthy, make sure they weren't being abused, all of that stuff. And he noticed this behavior. He would also vaccinate the children. And when he went to vaccinate them, they went into a catatonic state.
Oh, wow.
They just sat there like a rag doll for like an hour and just stared off into the wall.
Wow.
Both of them.
At the same time, like together?
Literally, yes.
Wow.
He said that was very, very, very unusual, and he tried to tell the school's headmaster and expected her to do something about it, but she refused.
Wow.
She would not do anything about it. So he contacted a child psychologist, and the psychologist said the girls need to go to therapy. This is not normal. There's something going on here.
Some type of psychological response.
Yes. They saw several psychotherapists, psychiatrists, and psychologists, and that's when they were dubbed the silent twins. Like, they were being passed around just to, like, try to figure out what's going on. I read that they were, what was it? Voluntarily mute is what they diagnosed them as, pretty much.
They were able to speak. They just chose not to. But
Yes.
it sounds like more than that. Like, oh, wow.
In February of 1977, a speech therapist met with the girls. They would not speak to the therapist themselves. They would not do it, but they finally agreed to allow them to watch as they spoke to each other.
Okay.
Because I think all these doctors were coming at them, and it was getting
Maybe
to a scary point, and they're like...
If they could find anyone to help decipher their language,
Yes.
maybe.
And they could speak, by the way. They could speak. It was slow, and they spoke to their mother very rarely if they had to, you know what I mean? Or they would hear them speaking a little bit of their normal. But, yeah. The therapist thought that June wished to speak to her, that June wanted to speak, but Jennifer would not allow her to. She said it was really weird. Like, Jennifer would just stare at her when she tried to speak to June. Like, scary. Like, that's very...
Almost like she was in control of her.
Right. Yeah. The therapist suggested to the parents to separate them completely, send them to different boarding schools.
Oh, wow.
So they could pretty much gain their own social sense, so they could gain their own self and communicate with other people and all of that. It backfired completely. They both withdrew from absolutely everything, would not go to class. They both went into a catatonic state. It took two different people, I think it was June, to get June out of bed. 2 humans to get her out of bed. She refused. And the way I understand it, it's not like they were just like playing, like children are just like, I don't want to. No.
Right.
They
just
physically
like full
couldn't.
shutdown. Yeah.
They could not. They actually stopped talking to their parents pretty much after this happened. They never said another word to them again. They would write letters to their parents whenever they felt they needed to, but it was very, 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 like, rare. Because they blamed their parents for splitting them up and sending them to different schools and all of that stuff. One year for Christmas, they were gifted diaries. They loved to write, both of them, and they actually developed a very big passion for writing. They had diary after diary after diary after diary. They, like, continued to write on and
saga.
on. Literally. And they would write about each other, too. Like, each one would write about the other.
Even though they weren't together.
Yes. And they would write like they hated each other.
Oh, wow.
Like, it was like they held each other in, like, a prison. Like, they did not like each other. June actually called her sister in one of her diaries a dark shadow.
Wow.
And Jennifer said she felt like they were fatal enemies.
Huh. Like some type of, like, soul intertwined twin flame thing.
Exactly. Yes. At 16, they took a writing course and began publishing their little short stories, like, together. Most of their stories were about young people who committed really bad crimes.
Wow.
Like, really, really bad crimes. June actually wrote and published a book called The Pepsi Cola Addict. And Jennifer wrote a book called The Disco Mania. They were both extremely violent stories.
Huh.
After their books were published, they got sick of writing. They just stopped. They did it for a few years. They wrote stories. They published stories. They actually both wrote a book, and they were just done. They wanted to... Okay, in their stories, there was a lot of violence and stuff like that.
So these were stories that they made up?
Yes.
themselves. Okay.
Like together. Yes.
Huh.
And then one wrote the book and the other wrote the other book. They would write of crimes and these young people going out and doing things like arson and burglary and, bad stuff. And then they decided they wanted to be those people. Literally. They wanted to be the ones doing it, not writing about it. That's when the crime started.
Oh.
Yes. They started experimenting with drugs and alcohol, and they started committing crimes of their own. Like, they started, they did theft, what else was it? Burglary. They did several things, and then they turned to arson, which they were most infatuated with. They were actually arrested for arson in 1981. They were 18. I'm pretty sure it said 18, yeah. They set a tractor store on fire.
Wow.
They each wrote in their diaries about this, and I think it was June described it as a representation of their rage.
Huh.
So, like, on the outside, they were like these
silent,
quiet,
like it was all internal,
meek girls who everyone was kind of scared of and everyone wanted nothing to do with, and they were bullied as children, and the more they were bullied, they were
rage grew.
They were pushed towards each other because they were safe with each other, and it just escalated to where we are our own world, literally. Yeah. Even though I don't like you and you don't like me, we have no one else, so we're here together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were both placed in a maximum security hospital for the criminally insane. They started doing testing on the girls because obviously they noticed they didn't talk to anybody. They were very together. They started testing on the girls, and they gave them each high doses of antipsychotic medications. It caused Jennifer to have blurry vision. Yeah. They were there for 12 years. They did the therapy there. They actually started talking to others there. They did everything they could to try to get a shorter sentence, to try to get out of this hell, essentially, that they had brought themselves into. And they pretty much said, nope. So finally, after 12 years, in March of 1993, they were being transferred to a lower security clinic where it wasn't so you weren't locked up as much and all of that stuff. But on the way there, Jennifer drifted off to a sleep and never woke up again.
Oh, wow. And Jennifer was the one that we think may have been kind of more in charge.
Yes, that's...
Because June seemed to be a little more scared of her.
That's kind of what it seemed. Yes. Once they realized that she died in transit, but once they got to the hospital or the new clinic they were going to, they realized she was like unresponsive, and they sent her to a hospital immediately, and they pronounced her dead due to a sudden inflammation of her heart. She was only 29 years old.
Huh, wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was all the medications.
It could have been the antipsychotics
or the drugs they did.
But there is Marjorie Wallace, who was a journalist that founded the mental health charity called SANE. She once did an interview with the girls, and Jennifer told her that she was going to have to die for June to live a normal life.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's really interesting.
And Marjorie actually went on and wrote a book about them later, about the weirdness of their whole situation.
Almost like she was holding her back that whole time, and she knew it.
After she passed away, June spoke like she had always spoke from the day she was born to everyone.
Wow. Almost like she was, like Jennifer was born with some type of dark entity that just like controlled the both of them or something.
She also claimed that she heard Jennifer's last words on the transit there, and she said they were, at long last, we're out. June wrote a poem. Once we were two, we two made one. We two no more. Through life, we be one. And it's on Jennifer's headstone.
That's crazy.
There's actually a movie that came out in 2022 called The Silent Twins.
Really?
It was based off...
Have you watched it?
I have not. Actually,
we should watch it together.
I started it, but I did not get too deep into it. It's based off the book that Marjorie Wallace wrote about the girls.
Okay. That'd be interesting to watch.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Twin stuff is weird anyway.
I know.
Not just like physically and like psychologically, but like spiritually, such a weird thing.
They have a pull on each other.
Yes.
And I also think
they have that twin.
I think it has to be
twin
a certain
tuition
kind
or whatever.
of twin, because I know twins that are complete opposite. And you know what I mean. It's that identical
twins seem to have it more than anyone.
And
it's
I'm not saying fraternal twins don't have it too, but it's just
that constant connection. They seem to know
exactly
if the other one's in trouble or if there's
literally yes.
It's wild. And I mean, it makes sense because they're literally in the womb together. They're going through every phase of life together,
Right.
but they are different people. But at the same time, it makes you think about the spiritual part, like the soul being split, or, you know, some kind of...
I was going to say the
like
soul split, too. That's so interesting.
They're connected no matter what.
Exactly.
Like, that is so
and
cool.
I think maybe one of them was a little evil or had something within her.
Yeah, it sounds like she was almost like born
Controlling.
possessed or something.
Yes.
By something dark. Yeah. And she finally realized, like, herself, her consciousness realized, like, I have to go to let my sister thrive.
Exactly.
Like, she was feeding off her.
Exactly.
That's wild. That's so cool. Yeah, I'd like to watch a movie. And there is a book too, you said?
There is a book. Marjorie Wallace wrote it. It's called The...
Yeah, I've read
thing
the
as
book
the
too. That's
movie.
interesting. I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Pretty good.
Yep. My first one isn't quite as interesting, but I thought it was cool because, like I said, I love hearing stories about when weird things appear for no particular reason. So there's a town in Washington called Oakville, and in 1994 they get a lot of rain anyway. But this was not rain. This was globs of, like, jelly. Like, sticky, gooey substance.
So, like, strawberry... Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah. And I've read that they've had, like, meat rain. Like, meat falling from the sky.
So, like, you're talking like a prime rib.
Yeah.
Or,
Well,
like, is that what you mean?
well, yeah, I guess. Like, chunks. It said, like, chunks of flesh. Like, chunks of pink meat falling from the sky. It was this... Now, this isn't what I'm focusing on, so this is another side quest. I just happened to run along this.
Side quests are the best.
Right? It was a town in Kentucky in, like, the 1800s, and they called it the Kentucky Meat Shower, where people claimed there was meat literally raining down from the sky.
So can you explain how this happened?
Kentucky Meat Shower.
Can they explain?
So, they aren't really sure. It's one of those, mysterious things, but I assume that the most, like, probable thing they said was probably vulture vomit. Because I guess when vultures get really full and they have to, like, fly off in a hurry, I guess they'll just, like, release it all. And so they think maybe, like, a big flock or whatever, a group of vultures must have...
Like, taken off from a tree and a storm was coming at the same time.
Right, and I guess
like,
the
they
wind
vomited.
must have got a hold of all that fleshy
So people
puke
are
and-
outside like, oh, there's meat. And it's really vulture vomit.
That's, yeah. Now that's, they don't know what it was for sure. But I guess they tested the meat and stuff and they didn't know where it came from exactly. Like what kind of animal. It was probably a mix of several different kinds.
Oh my gosh, that's so disgusting.
Who knows, yeah. But anyway.
Reason number 343 why I don't leave my house.
Could you imagine, like, I think one lady said it was like a horse carriage full amount of raining meat. Because back then, that would be like now that would be like a car full, I guess, of chunks of meat.
That is crazy.
But the blobs in this town in Washington, it was like 6 different rounds within a span of a few weeks. So it's not like just one time this happened. This happened several times.
6 different times.
Yeah, and it was just this town, I guess. Like,
was it like over a spurt of time, or was it just in 1 week?
Just in a few weeks. Like in a few weeks, this happened 6 different times in this one little area.
And it never happened again.
I guess not. I didn't see anything else about it. I guess it just started raining because they have a lot of rain there anyway, and then but it was like jelly blobs, and they started getting sick. All the people, no one died, but they started getting really sick, nauseated, vomiting, dizziness, just fatigue, all these like flu-like symptoms. Everyone was sick, so they thought it had to be from this mysterious jelly blob that was falling everywhere. And they had animals dying, like all kinds of animals, not just specific animals. Like they'd find kittens and a raven and frogs. So it's like whatever it was fatal to animals, but not to humans.
Do you think the animals were like eating it? Maybe
probably. If they were, if they're landing on the ground, they're like, oh,
eat it.
Yeah, and plus if it did have something similar to... So I guess I don't know exactly what it was made up of, but some microbiologist took some to his lab to test it, but he didn't get very far because when he came back in, it had disappeared. His
like the blob ran away. Okay, so I'm the person that does the thing with the movies. And okay, so Flubber.
Yes, just like Flubber.
So he put like a top hat on and scooted his little ass right out the door.
Yes, that had to be it. Either someone took it or it flubbered its ass out.
So,
but like no one was talking about it after that. Like his specimen disappears, so he could no longer do any experiments, and no one would say what happened. Nobody would admit to what happened. So yeah, either it disappeared or someone took it.
Could it have possibly just simply like evaporated?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like
maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
That is so fucking weird.
But he did find that there was like something similar to human white blood cells. He didn't think it came from humans, but it was similar enough, maybe some type of creature or animal that had died. They aren't sure. They didn't get very far. Some people thought like an alien species or something like that. But he couldn't do any more research because it was gone. And I guess they found like organisms, bacteria that did prove to cause the illness. Like it made sense with the illness. But I don't know. Some people thought it could have been like airplane bathrooms, like like the waste being
like the pee-pee.
Yeah, like waste being dropped that maybe it somehow like solidified because well they do use like antifreeze I think when they so maybe that explained the chemicals making people sick, but I would think it would turn it blue and not this was a different color.
But you got to think it has to like go through all the atmospheres and everything, so you
and it's
really
never done that before,
right? Or after.
Well, some people thought maybe it was jellyfish parts because maybe some type of experiment.
I
or
got
weapons
it.
testing.
I got it. The vultures ate the jellyfish and then they vomited all over the town.
Maybe
in different times, and now we have vulture vomit again. I just solved the mystery.
But then they never did it again ever.
No, because they don't go there anymore.
They're done.
They decided not to. Flubber scared them off.
Yeah, some people thought maybe there was some kind of weapons testing or something that was like, causing explosions in the water to cause these jellyfish. I was going to ask
if there was any kind of like nuclear plants or anything along those lines.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see anything about that, but maybe. And I tried to find more. There's not a lot of details, but I found it so fascinating that like it made these people sick. It killed these animals. They have no idea what it was. Like, no idea. And where it came from or how it happened, why it never happened again. Some people, they said that the most likely reason was, have you ever heard of star jelly?
No.
I guess, so star jelly actually does appear all over the world in different places at different times.
What is it?
It's, can't scientifically tell you exactly, but it's like a jelly-like substance that appears usually like on the ground. It usually forms on the ground.
So it's not like it falls.
Yeah, there's not any other like stories of it raining down, but it's a very similar substance that usually appears. It's some type of species that I don't know if it's from the elements. It could like something with fungus, something with rain. I really don't know how it forms, but a lot of people, they call it different things. Some people call it witch's butter. Some people call it mare's eggs.
Wait,
I'm not
so
sure
can you
why.
eat it?
I don't know. That's the thing with star jelly. They say that is not toxic. It doesn't hurt people. So maybe I don't know what they use it for or what what they do with it, but that's why it doesn't match up because that stuff was harmful.
Right. It made the
and
animals
this stuff forms
die.
on the ground, whereas this seemed to come from the sky. And this stuff, the star jelly, a lot of people think comes like the dust from meteor showers. Like once it hits the atmosphere, that it connects with stuff in the ground and it forms these jelly-like things. So something with meteor showers, but there's claims of that all the way back to the 13th century and all over the world. And that's, I think, what inspired the Blob movie, actually, was the star jelly.
It also inspired Flubber.
And Flubber, yeah.
No, I have no idea, but I'm just saying.
I find the star jelly really interesting. I'm not exactly sure what causes it, but I don't think that the Oakville blob rain thing was star jelly. I think it was something different. Maybe it was just jellyfish parts. Maybe it was some kind of vulture vomit explosion.
I told you I solved the case.
How crazy for it to
solved
never...
the mystery.
Solved. Done. Next.
Okay, so my next one is kind of nothing like that at all. So that's fun.
That's why we got a little variety.
It's one a lot of people know about, mostly because of a certain TV show called American Horror Story.
Oh, yes.
Roanoke.
That is one I have not watched yet. I've been saying
Lost Colony of Roanoke.
Oh.
Okay, American Horror Story took that bitch and twisted it and made it beautiful.
Oh, I've got to watch that one.
Some people don't like that season. Some people love that season. I thought it was pretty good, actually, but it's nothing like what was that. Obviously, they took it and made it into that awesome story. And a lot of people know it from other things, but, like, I had never heard of it until I watched that season of American Horror Story. So, okay, in 1584, Sir Walter Raleigh asked Queen Elizabeth permission to establish a colony in the New World. She agreed immediately. Having an English presence in North America would provide a good passage to the West Indies where they were traveling, and also they wanted to have land there, to establish a land there, to say they had done it first, essentially, you know. They sent out a first small expedition to make sure the land was usable, to make sure they had a water supply, a good food supply, good soil, good everything. And they came back and reported it was perfect. It was plentiful. There were resources. It was on the water. And the local Native American tribes seemed very peaceful and friendly. So they were a go. Everything was great. So in 1985, they sent another much larger crew of 600 men to start settling, to start building, to start doing all of this stuff. It didn't go to plan. It did not happen. Conflict happened, and the settlers had to come back. They actually did not stay. There was a problem with growing food. They couldn't get it. It was like the wrong time of year, essentially. Yeah. So they couldn't get food to grow, and then they had conflict with some tribes nearby. So they just came back. But Raleigh wasn't giving up. He was like, this is perfect. We need to do this. He funded all of these expeditions. In 1587, they decided to try again. They sent 90 men, 17 women, and 11 children to settle on Roanoke Island. They were actually supposed to settle 50 miles, I think it was north, like not on Roanoke, but that's where they landed and that's where they thought they were supposed to be. John White was the governor. He was the governor of the colony. He had his wife and his daughter. His daughter was pregnant during the journey. She actually gave birth, and she was the first child born on an English child born on American soil, essentially. Yeah. A few months after settling, they needed supplies. They were already running out. Once again, they came at a bad time, so their food wasn't growing. Right. Like, they couldn't get the crops to get big. They couldn't get the food, and they were it came to the point of desperation. They needed food. No. So White returned to England to gather all the supplies he needed to come back and help his city essentially grow. Once he got back, he discovered that the war had broken out between England and Spain. And Queen Elizabeth ordered every single ship that was pliable to be used for the war. So the ship he had come back on, he could not go back to Roanoke with. So he was literally stuck there. He tried several times to get small ships. He tried to build a ship. He tried to do all this stuff to get back. He could not. It took 3 years for him to be able to go back. It was finally 1590.
So this whole time he was their savior, trying to bring back all this stuff.
Yes.
But he was gone.
He finally, like I said, after 3 years, got to go back. He finally got there. There were storms on the way. His boat was damaged a little bit on the way back, but he did make it back. Everyone was gone.
Just completely
gone. Trace of the houses were still standing. Okay. There were no belongings. There were no bodies. There was no, like, signs of anything. There was no signs of struggle. It was just like an empty ghost town. Nobody was there.
They took all their stuff and left.
Literally. Everything was gone. All that was left was the word, I might butcher this, I hope I don't, Croatone. It was carved into a gatepost. And the letters C-R-O were carved into a nearby tree. So it's like they tried to carve Croatone again, but they couldn't. White had told his family, while he was gone, if something happened, if something destructive, bad, anything happened, to put up a white cross so he would know what happened. Just he would know this means danger. This means something bad happened. There was no white cross. There was nothing. He tried to travel to the nearby Croatone Island, but a bad storm came and his boat was already damaged from the first storm, and he had a choice to go to Croatone Island and potentially be stranded there for the rest of his life if they were not there, or go back to England, and he chose to go back to England. So he never found out. Never found anything out. He tried and tried and tried to get different expeditions, and every boat he would get, it was like something would happen to the boat, right, or the crew, or they refused to go. And the storm they took had a situation with the path they took had a situation with storms. I totally botched that. It's okay.
It's fine.
There was always storms. Like, every time they went through it. I don't know exactly. That was kind of weird to me. Like, why? But there are several theories as to what happened. Like, that's it. That's the end of the story. They just never found him.
And it wasn't like back then they couldn't send out a missing person search crew or...
This is the 1500s, so no.
Right.
There are several theories as to what exactly happened. One of them is that they, essentially what it says, they went to Croatoan Island and kind of integrated into that community kind of situation. And it was mostly just different tribes. Yeah. Another one was they stayed there, but they kind of broke apart because at the end there was 117 of them. At the end, they just broke apart in different little groups, and they integrated themselves into different tribes.
Oh, okay.
Another one was obviously the tribes overtook them. Yeah. And then you go into the like spooky, scary, there was aliens came. Yeah. Or one was somebody came and slaughtered the village because of the first expedition.
Yeah, you would think they would find remains and, like...
That's why that one's been actually... And the way they... hit my microphone. But that's why it's been debunked, because there's no remains.
And the way they didn't leave the White Cross. There wasn't anything left behind to show destruction of any kind or struggle of any kind. And the way they wrote, it sounds like they had to have gone to that island.
That's the most plausible.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's still crazy, to all these years and nothing was ever figured out.
I saw on one of the articles that said that this is almost our history's first ever unsolved mystery.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Really cool.
That is really neat.
And the word Roanoke is just so mysterious in itself.
But let me tell you, American Horror Story made it seem so spooky.
Got to watch that season. So
weird.
Oh my gosh.
And so twisted. The Butcher. Oh my God. You've got to watch that season. Like, it's kind of slow, but it gets... I enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't, but I did. It was one of my... Not favorites, but favorites.
Yeah. I've only watched a few seasons so far, and I keep saying I'm going to go back, and that's one I've had, because I skip around, and that's one I really want to watch. So.
I'm surprised you like it. There's a lot of gore and weird and
it just
different.
Depends. It depends on the type of gore, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So mine isn't super... This is a very common unsolved mystery. Everybody's heard of Amelia Earhart, right? First woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean solo. She was a big deal for women, because this was back in, the 1900s. It wasn't common for women to do things like this.
It wasn't common for women to do much of anything.
Right.
Other than cook a meal.
Right.
Right?
So we know that Amelia Earhart disappeared. She went out on... Well, first she had a successful trip across... the Atlantic Ocean, right? Okay. That went well, so she decided to go out for her trip across the Pacific Ocean. Right. This time she wasn't solo. She had, what was his name? Fred Noonan, I believe, with him. So she wasn't alone. She had her radio, she had everything. We know she disappeared. Nobody ever knows, to this day, her plane, the bodies, nobody knows where they went. What happened to them. Okay. I remember growing up, about the Bermuda Triangle a lot.
Okay, so when I think of Amelia Earhart, sorry, I literally think of the Bermuda Triangle because that is what I guess you're told.
Yeah,
I don't remember learning it in history class, but I remember that.
I remember hearing, and then after so long, it's we never heard anything else about it.
Yeah,
we stopped hearing about it.
Right,
and I always thought, she disappeared into the Bermuda Triangle, but. That's not even the same. Oh, the Bermuda Triangle is the Atlantic Ocean, right? And then she disappeared in the Pacific. So that doesn't even make sense. But with Amelia Earhart, there's so many theories. So some people...
Wait, could that be a Mandela, in fact, that we thought it was?
Maybe.
Or a mandala.
Maybe the location's been moved.
Oh my gosh.
Or maybe it's
mind blown.
I mean, who knows?
Okay. Sorry, it was just a quick thought.
Let's go. Oh, I'm going to be thinking now. I've got some more research to do. But yeah, so... She was declared lost at sea, obviously. Plane was never found. Body was never found. Some people think she just crashed and sank to the bottom of the sea. It was her last radio signal she had sent out saying she was low on fuel. She couldn't see her landing strip, but then that was it. They never heard from her again.
Okay.
And, a lot of people just think she crashed and went to the bottom of the ocean. And, once your body's down there, anything can eat you, you disappear, whatever.
Okay.
But plane's gone, no plane either. And they had an idea where she was because they know where her last signal came from.
Did they do search parties? Do you know?
I think they've sent out, like, many, many times.
Okay.
Like, I don't think they ever really stopped looking for her.
Okay.
But then, was it in 1940? Okay, so you've heard she was eaten by crabs theory, right?
That is my theory.
You've said that before, and I had never heard that. And then my daughter said it too, and I was like, "What are you guys talking about?"
She was eaten by crabs.
Well, so I looked into that, and it's like an actual theory.
I know.
Yeah. So in 1940, it was an island, Nicaragua. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. They found human remains, like bodies that had perished and been torn apart, and they assume it was by coconut crabs because these are massive crabs that bust coconuts,
Yeah,
so like
gotcha, yeah.
easy peasy, and then they just took the parts off. So they think that maybe that's what happened. Maybe they crashed on this island and the coconut crabs really just like, maybe they perished beforehand and the crabs took off with their limbs or whatever. They can't prove that that's what nobody's actually said.
Right.
Right. Like they don't know. But there's theories that she was taken prisoner. There's theories like she actually landed and was taken off somewhere, or
Wouldn't they have found the plane though? Like,
yeah, you would think they unless they took the plane and hid it somewhere. I don't.
How do you hide a plane on a deserted island?
And I'm sure it was a smaller plane back then, but still, I don't know. Unless
I don't
I mean,
that.
like the theory of like the Japanese taking her. I guess if they were able to, maybe they had more advanced.
I've never heard this theory.
Yeah, there's theories of that. There's theories that she was a spy and that she actually returned and took a new identity. There's all kinds of theories, so who knows? But talking about the Bermuda Triangle got me thinking about that a little bit. So I did look into it a little bit. But so we know the Bermuda Triangle it's a very well-traveled area. Like, it's not like it's off limits or anything. Lots of people have traveled by ship and by plane, but there are a lot of weird stories with it. Like I said, none more recently. It seems to be...
I was going to say, when we were kids, it was like, oh my God, I can't say the words. Bermuda Triangle swallowed them. Oh my gosh, yeah. You heard so many things. And now I'm 35 and I heard a damn thing.
Like, what happened? Where did it go?
I think it's just that's just a story that kids,
Maybe, but they've had a total of 50 ships and 20 aircrafts.
Just go poof in that area?
Yeah, that's just what I've read. And then from 1945 to 1970, there was a whole slew of ships that disappeared near the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay, I wonder if it's like some kind of like a ocean...
Like a whirlpool type thing, and it sucks them down.
Yeah.
And maybe they just can't... That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, there is a lot of crazy weather there. Like, over a lot of storms, hurricanes, things like that. And there's a lot of geomagnetic anomalies. It messes with the compass. It messes with... throws them off course.
What were the holes you did the episode
on? What were those?
The holes. Oh my gosh.
The openings, right?
The holes with the worlds underneath.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think, that the Bermuda Triangle is an opening to Atlantis.
Did I jump ahead and like take what you were gonna say?
Well, that was perfect transition, because I was just gonna say a lot of people think that's the true Atlantis portal. That's where they get sucked into Atlantis or some type of Atlantis type.
Okay.
So yeah, some people think aliens take them. Some people think that they go into this portal of some kind. There's definitely geomagnetic anomalies, and we know that compasses go off. We know that things go off course, that there's severe weather, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. So there's really, it's a mystery in itself, like what happened to all of these things. Like, but that's not the only, there's other areas like that. There's like the Alaska Triangle, which I'd never heard of. 16,000 people have gone missing in this area just since 1988. And that's more recent.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know. I find it all very interesting. I don't have a lot on it because nobody knows, but I had to mention it.
Right. No. Yeah. Totally agree.
It's crazy stuff.
But I'm still going to say, she got ate by crabs.
Right. The coconut crab. I had never heard that.
That's so horrible, though, to think of her having to go through that.
I'm hoping she perished first.
I honestly guess.
But, I mean, we know she's gone. We just don't... I mean, maybe she did assume a new identity. Maybe she did get taken... Who knows? It's crazy, though. All these years, and they don't know. And it wasn't just some random so-and-so. This was Amelia Earhart.
See, I also find it interesting that she was, like, the first woman to, like...
Right? There's that, too. That, like, she was, doing big things.
I totally agree. And the first woman, it's just weird.
It is.
It's very weird.
It really does make you wonder.
It really does. hopefully it was just a simple, like you said, the last thing was the gas, right?
Yeah.
She was out of gas and
she wasn't able to see where she was landing, so that they do know.
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully it was just a malfunction and,
We'll never know.
Right.
So that's all we've got for tonight, but let us know if you have any really interesting unsolved mysteries that
we would love to dive into them.
Yeah, we'd love to do another episode on these because this is really fun. And there's so many out there,
There really is. These are the ones that we just kind of skimmed across real quick, or some of them we kind of knew and then went into.
And some of, like, Amelia Earhart has been mentioned so much lately around my house for some reason, and I'm like, I have to do it just because it's been mentioned so many times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know there's a lot out there, and we'd love to get into them. So
yeah. If you'd like to let us know or contact us, our email address is onlyifyoucankeepup@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.